What's up guys, my name is Tim and I'm going to teach you how to do this cool little Doctor Strange effect here. Let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is a camera, one where you can manually adjust your settings, so this way you can slow down your shutter speed to get this effect. So what I use personally is a Canon 5D Mark IV with a 24 to 70 2.8 millimeter lens attached to it. However, the shot was taken at a 50 millimeter focal length, so one just like this would do perfectly just fine, and this is honestly one of my favorite lenses. The next thing that I use for this shot is a off-camera flash. So with that you need a trigger, something that is going to set off the flash that is behind them. And for that I used a GODOX Wistro 8200. And to make sure the flash wasn't spilling all over the frame, I made sure I used a mag mod, which does fit on this, with a grid attached to it. Now the reason why I use a flash in this shot, even though we already have the sparklers, is because it's set to a slower shutter speed. The shutter speed on this is about 6 seconds. And so what the flash is going to do is freeze the subject just a little bit. So if there's any movement, we won't notice it as much. And that's going to be set up right behind them to give this nice angelic silhouette effect. So if you already have a speed light, you can also go out and get a their GODOX Strato 2. It's a receiver and transmitter. So one of them will get attached to your camera right on the top, and the other one will get attached to, you can set this side for light stand, and then the flash would just go on top of that. This side would talk to this side, and then you'll be able to achieve the same effect. So the way I set up my light stand is with this Bowens mount, which works nicely with soft boxes or anything else. So the light will fit right through there, and I don't even have to take off the modifier or anything like that, which is really cool. The most important thing that you need for this shot is a tripod. You cannot do this shot without a tripod. If you guys need help looking for any of this stuff, I'll make sure I link all this stuff in the description as well. So your next step is going to be setting up this shot. And now for this, you do have to make sure you have your sparklers, obviously your subject. The best way to do it is to put them in a darker environment, so this way you're not getting a ton of light that is flooding your lens and your sensor. And these sparklers are going to stand out. So the one thing that I always say is expose for your background and compensate with your flash. What that means is the way that your shot is exposed in your camera should be exactly what you want it to look like. And then from there, you can adjust your flash to make sure that your subject is well lit, or lit the way that you want it to look. So the first thing that I have to do is make sure I find my dark environment to put my subject. In this shot, it happened to be on the side of the venue. They have this field where the sun actually set behind. We did a shot earlier in that day that looked really nice. So it worked out just as well. And the way that I framed it, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't getting too much of the ground because some of the light may spill onto the ground, and that's not really what we want. Having the shot a little bit tighter in also helps so that the subject stands out a little bit more. The best thing that you can do is to try to get your shot as perfect as possible in camera. It's just going to create less work for yourself later on. So now I have my subject in the dark with my sparklers ready. My camera is set up on my tripod with the settings that I need, and the light is directly behind them, pointing right towards them, so that they are right between my light and my camera lens. So this way I'm not going to be able to see the light at all from where I'm positioned. So the next step is to make sure that you have time to get this effect. And to do that, you're going to make sure you have a longer shutter speed so that it catches all of this light. And for this shot, my shutter was open for 6 whole seconds, which means it was recording light for an entire 6 seconds. Now within that 6 seconds, you want to make sure to tell your subject to stay as still as possible so that there is as little motion blur as possible. The next step is going to be to make sure that you have your sparklers ready with a lighter to light them. Now the way that we're set up from back to front is the flash, and then me with the sparklers. Then you have the subject, the couple, and my camera is right towards the front. Now, if you have an assistant or somebody to help out, you can have them hit the shutter, or I have also done it by myself with just setting it up on a timer. That works as well. You have to move a little bit quicker, but you can do it. A trigger is also super helpful for this shot. Either way, make sure you duck behind your subject, lighting the sparklers off right before you hit the shutter. So once the flash goes off, you have a silhouette of your subject recorded on the camera. And now you can go ahead and swing the sparklers as fast as you can. For this one, I believe I had to use the smaller sparklers. If you can get the bigger ones, it's a little bit easier. Either way, they both work, but I probably had to use 8 or 10 of the smaller ones for this shot. Now, as you're spinning them around in a circle about a foot or two behind them to make sure that nobody gets hurt, some of the sparks are gonna fly off and create this cool little effect that you see around the edge of the circle. Once the 6 seconds are up, the image will stop recording and you'll be left with a picture very similar to this. Now, you can get away with a little bit less than 6 seconds, but it might make it a little bit more difficult, and you can do more than 6 seconds, but you probably won't need much more than that. Now, all you have to do is bring it into Lightroom to do a little bit of tweaking. If you guys want to check out the full video where I show you step-by-step techniques on how I edit a photo like this, I'll have the link to that video down below. And there you have it. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I'll be putting out videos every week to give you guys tips and tricks to help you guys out. Also comment to tell me things that you want to see in future videos, and make sure you follow me on Facebook and Instagram at WeddingPhotoNJ. Thanks so much, guys. See you down the aisle.